Either write something worth reading or do something worth writing. And my guest today has done both. Hello and welcome to Russell Book Club Author Interaction with me, Saraswati Priyadarshini. Before start speaking to Yash, let me tell you a little bit about him. Hello, Yash, and hi, Rahul.
Hi.
Hi. Okay, Yash, you are a global youth mentor, youth icon, and speaker. You delivered 6 TED Talks alongside global influencers and leaders from diverse fields. And on your Josh talk, you had 500,000 views in a very short time span. You wrote your very first critically acclaimed book, Celebration in Tribulation, in 22 days at the age of 16. One of India's leading English newspaper, the Free Press Journal, published an interview with you stating Kanpur's Yash Tiwari is the youngest to pen down a novel on COVID-19 pandemic in 30 days flat. The world's first fictional novel on the coronavirus outbreak called Pandemic 2020, Life of the Virus. This was at the age of 19. For this, you received the Spectrum Sahitya Award, an award given to authors across the nation for their literary works. The Indian Avaz gave you the title Young Author of the Year 2020. You have also got the Youth Leader Award named Top 100 Influential People of India by Hum Foundation. Best Debut Author by ICMDR and Global Young Leader. You were part of the 75th anniversary of the UN World Peace Global Initiative. You were a guest speaker at the international conference, felicitated by the Minister of Higher Education, and the event was inaugurated by none other than our President of India, Mr. Ramnath Kovind. You have been interviewed by Indian Express and other leading national and international organization, featured on the cover of several magazines, and you travel the length and breadth of the country to schools and colleges to motivate youngsters. Yash, your list of awards and accolades run more in number than the number of years of your existence, which is a mere 19. More than saying I am honored or I am privileged to be talking to you today, I wish to say that I am really proud to be talking to you today, because when I see you, I see a student, I see a son, and I see young India.
Thank you so
Absolutely
much. Thank you.
proud to have this interaction with you, and welcome again to the author interaction. I had to dive right
Thank you
in
so much,
because,
ma'am.
yeah, I had to dive in because your lists, actually, I haven't read everything. I know to save
Okay.
time.
All right. All right.
To save time, I had to rush through that, but this gives a gist of everything you have accomplished in a very short span of time. Yash, I'd like to straight away go into your book, Pandemic 2020, where you've written about
Absolutely.
the government, you've paid tribute to the frontline workers, you have spoken about the harrowing ordeals of the underprivileged, the marginally disadvantaged, you speak about the role of the media, and it's a globally interconnecting story that links all the countries that
Absolutely.
have faced this
It is.
trauma. Yeah. So you wrote this last year when India
Yes, I did.
faced, yeah, the first, onslaught of the pandemic. But right now we are in the second wave, and we are trying to come to grips with it. We have all personally lost loved ones and those close to us. What are your thoughts now, Yash?
All right. Sure, sure. First of all, before anything, thank you so much for such a warm welcome. I'm really very excited to be having this discussion today. And I'm really very grateful for all the kind, appreciative words from your end. Now, when I talk about my latest book, Pandemic 2020 Life of the Virus, which, by the way, I actually have by my side right now. So, this is my latest book, Pandemic 2020, as you can see, which, as you mentioned, is world's first fiction novel based on the coronavirus outbreak, the second and deadlier wave of which we are going through right now as we speak. And yes, the tale of my book is a globally interconnecting one. We can say connecting, or should I say, uniting the sorrows, the gloom, the suffering, and the privations of people from all walks of life. We have a journalist all the way in India. We have a poor boy all the way in China. We have a doctor all the way in US. And then we also have a stranded traveler all the way in Italy, the story of which I have tried to present through my latest book, Pandemic 2020, Life of the Virus. Now, when it comes to the second and deadlier wave, which we are going through right now, I mean, I have to say that I personally feel surprised that the topic which I wrote a book about last year, even though I was very much devastated by it, it is still relevant right now. I have to be very honest over here. Even if I have written a book about it, I feel shaken to my core. I feel sad in my soul. I feel that gloom and that crack in my soul right now because we are not, I would say, coming out of all that we were going through last year, but we are going deeper and deeper and deeper into it. And the situation doesn't seem to be getting better. Like, even if the numbers are getting better slowly and gradually every day as we talk right now, when I look at the internal reports of those of hospitals or the
Mm.
frontline workers or even the crematorium grounds for that matter, I'm being bluntly honest and practical over here. It is only harrowing for me. So the condition getting worsening, I would say the condition worsening every day and the condition getting much worse than how it was yesterday or a couple of weeks ago or a couple of months ago, it breaks my heart. It genuinely breaks my heart. And more than that, it breaks my heart that the story which I penned last year as a
Mm.
tribute to all the frontline workers and the medical workers and the pains that they were going through in the initial phase of the COVID
Mm.
19 lockdown last year, it is still relevant. It is still
Yes.
a reality of the present world.
Very true, very true. And the situation is overwhelming for our medical staff, and the frontline workers are our heroes. Rightly said, Yash Tiwari. Now, I would like to move from your book to your role as a youth mentor and speaker.
Sure.
What do you think are the areas that the current youth, especially in our country, what are the areas that they need help in, according to you?
Well, when it comes to the youngsters, and especially because I'm a 19 years old myself, so I connect very well with them. And I have been professionally working as a public speaker, a motivational speaker, and primarily as a youth mentor since I was just 16 years old back in 18. And the one thing which I am able to make out very clearly, and this is not in fact appropriate only for the youngsters of our country, but I can assure you that you will
Mm.
find this ideology in youngsters all around the world, whether I'm delivering a session or a workshop in USA or China or Canada or Australia or Nigeria, Ghana, Cameroon,
Mm.
any part of the world you can take. And this one thing is common for every single youngster that I get to interact with. And
And that
that
is?
thing, that particular thing is the youngsters of today are more focused on the external world around them rather than the internal world within their own self. They are more focused on what is wrong with the politics, or what is wrong with the education, or what is
Mm.
wrong with the environment, or what is wrong with their parents, or what is wrong with their guardians, rather than thinking about what can they improve in their own self. What are their own strengths and weaknesses? What are their own capacities and hindrances? What are the shortcomings in their own self, which are, by the way, also contributing towards the shortcomings of the world that we are living in right now? Because if I say that there are so and so environmental concerns in the world of today, then that is not only because of the previous generations, it is
Mm.
also very much because of the works and the actions and habits and behaviors of the present generation. But then again, when we talk to the youngsters, it feels as if only and only the previous generations have made the world how it is right now. And there is no, I would say, no point in them coming forward and trying to do something because it is already so bad. So that pessimism about how the world is right now, and then secondly, only and only focusing on what the world is right now, rather than thinking about how they can personally change it. This is
Mm.
something which I personally feel lacking in most of the youngsters. So this is also something which I try to guide and mentor the
Mm.
youngsters about through my talks and
Wonderful,
sessions. And I
Yash.
hope that, yeah, I hope that this message does reaches out to all the listeners that are listening to this show right now.
Yes, yes. You make a very valid point there. Our great father of the nation himself said, "Be the change you wish to see." So the change
Absolutely.
begins with us. And that's right. You ask not what your country can do for you, ask yourself what you can do for your country. You bring out a very valid and very strong point. And you spoke about strengths and weaknesses, to look into your own self and your strength and your weakness. Now, at such a young age, you have become a leader among the youth. So, what quality or what strength of yours did you think would enable you to do that? What is your core strength?
I think my core strength lies in my words. And this is one thing which I say in all of my interviews and all of my talks as well. That my agenda, since as long as I can remember working professionally in the field of literature and public speaking and whatnot, has been
Mm,
to use my words for the greater good of the world or the society or the community that I am a part of. My agenda has not just been to write yet another book or deliver yet another talk. It has always been about illuminating those topics in our society that need illumination, that need some social awareness. It has always been about channelizing my voice in a direction where it would be heard by the youngsters, but at the
mm,
same time, it will also be impacting the youngsters. It is not being delivered just for the sake of it, but it is being delivered to change the life of every person who is listening it. And that is what I consider as my core strength as well.
very
Because I feel that every person has some or the other potential,
good.
but if you are not using your potential for the greater good of the world or for the good of somebody else out there, then your potential is of no use. Because if your potential is only earning you trophies to fill your own bookshelf or your own trophy shelf, then that is not enough. That wouldn't give you the satisfaction of being playing a role in this world or being something in this world. And for me personally, using my words, whether it is in the form of the novels that I write or in the form of the talks or seminars that I deliver, has been my primary focus, has been
Mhm.
my primary goal since a very long time. And that is what I concentrate on as well as I walk through.
Yes, I believe you because you speak confidently. So your strength is
Thank you so
your
much.
voice and your words. And like you rightly
Absolutely,
said,
absolutely.
everyone has a potential and that should be tapped into and used rightly. Now, you've attended several conferences, meetings where delegates from all over the world have been a part of it. You are a 19-year-old. Have you ever been overwhelmed or intimidated? How have you felt sitting among these delegates? Uh,
Hmm. Okay.
Definitely much older than you.
Much
Yeah,
older, much
much
older.
older.
Let me tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah, much older, much
So
older.
what was
And in
what
fact,
was going on in
yeah,
you?
this in fact reminds me of my first TED talk, which I
Mm,
delivered at the age of 17,
mm,
16, 17. It must have been a couple of years back. And it was, by the way, it was scheduled right in between of my 12th boards examination. I had my physics examination, then I had my TED talk, then I
mm,
had my chemistry examination. So it was a roller coaster ride, let me
mm,
tell you.
mm,
But yeah, coming back to the question which you asked. So I
mm,
remember that when I was invited for my first TED talk, and all of us know that TED is the biggest platform in the entire world when it comes to delivering talks and delivering inspiring stories and inspiring words to people out there. So when I was invited for that at the age of 16, I was excited. I mean, that goes without saying. But then when I was attending the event, and this was one of the 6 TED talks that I would go on to deliver by the age of 19 then. So when I was in that event at TEDx HPTU, and I saw that, of course, I was 16 or I was 17 years old. That is one point. But all of my fellow speakers, they are in their 60s or
mm,
70s or 80s or
mm,
90s, and
mm,
they are global change makers. They are globally renowned personalities. They are politicians. They are, I would say, best-selling authors. They were actors. They were, I would say, movie makers as well, if I remember correctly. And all in all, there were people from various walks of life who were perfectionists, who were influencers already with a following of millions, if not billions. And there I was at the age of 17, sitting right next to them and in the same capacity as well. I was delivering as much of an important talk as they were delivering at their respective ages. So, what was going on in my mind exactly? The honest answer over here is that I might have felt excited about the same, but when I got on the stage and when the camera was on me and the spotlight was on me, like it is right now as I speak, the only focus was on the camera and the 2 billion people who follow the platform of TED, whom I was going to address through my first TED talk within those 17 or 18 minutes. That was the stipulated time. It wasn't on the audience in that auditorium. It wasn't on the, I would say, the list of speakers who were sitting right in front of me, who might have been overwhelming had I concentrated only on them. It was only and only, my focus was only and only on the every single word that I was uttering, because I knew that every word which I speak right now through this globally renowned platform, it will change somebody's life. It might become the reason for somebody to even not give up on their life and live further. So for me, the focus was on that, and that is why nothing else felt, I would say, overwhelming to me. And then after that, I mean, all of my talks and seminars have been in a way where my audience has been twice or thrice as old as I am, if not, a couple of decades older to me. So now it genuinely doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, what matters is the work which I'm doing and my voice and the experience which I want to share, rather than the age at which I'm doing it.
Very good. So staying focused is what helped you, which is very important. I see that you are very disciplined and very, very focused. These are traits
Thank you
that
so much.
that our youth should also imbibe and treat as very important. Now,
Absolutely.
Yash, in a
Absolutely.
survey conducted in 2019, it showed
Yeah.
that more than 50% of India is under the age group of 25. So at the moment, India is as young as she could have ever been. So your role as a youth mentor, speaker, coach is very vital and very crucial. So, what do you think? And you being so successful yourself, you're like a super kid. So, you being so successful, what do you think are the elements of success apart from what I have noticed about you? Your confidence, your voice, the way you speak, very powerful words you use, and you're disciplined, you're focused. What else, so that the youth pick up on those, and they are also successful in what they do? What are the elements of success according to you? You can list three for me.
Okay. So, first of all, according to me, the greatest element, or should I say, the greatest definition of success for me, is when you are successful and you are benefiting in some way to your own self personally. But then that benefit or that success is not limited to only you or your
Mm,
trophy shelf. It is also giving some sort of impact or some sort of benefit, or for that matter, some sort of goodness to the people that you belong to the community that you belong to the
mm,
society that you belong to, and to the world as a whole. So,
mm,
first of all, your success should not be limited only to you, because when it is, it becomes small, it becomes
mm,
very tiny. But
mm,
when your success, even if you are winning a competition and you are sharing the joy of it with a lot of people, that success becomes bigger, because now it is not only about you, it is about more than one single person, whether it is only
mm,
about 5 people or 5,000 people out there. If that success of yours, if it is in the form of literature or arts or, let's say, education or whatever it might be, I do not want to define it or categorize it in any way,
mm,
but success of yours should not be limited to you. It should be bigger than that. That is the first element. And the second element, or the second definition of success, according to me, is that when you succeed in something or when you achieve something and you go to bed that day at night, you should not feel satisfied. You should not feel, like you have done
done
all
it
that
all.
you had in yourself.
Yeah, yeah.
Or, yeah, you should not feel that just because you have delivered that certain talk, or just because you have achieved that certain trophy, or just because you have written that particular book, the work is
Mm,
done and now you can just lay on your couch, relax, eat Cheetos, and
stay
watch
hungry,
Netflix
you
from
mean?
day till night.
Stay
You
hungry.
have to stay hungry, and more than that, I would say your success should make you hungry. Because
Mm,
even right now, when I am delivering this interview today, when I go to bed tonight, I know that I will be looking forward to all that I wish to do tomorrow rather than feeling successful about the fact that I delivered an interview today, just like it happened yesterday and day before that and for years and years before that. So your success should not be making you feel satisfied. It should leave you thirsty for more. And I do not say that in a negative connotation, just to be clear about that. I say that in a very positive, I would say, vibe or a positive connotation, that whatever you are doing, it should leave you ambitious and it should leave you envisioning about greater pedestals or greater platforms in your life. So these are the definitions and aspects of success according to me.
Wonderful, Yash. Now, coming back to the Indian population being very young, India being at her
Yeah.
youth, India is one of the youngest countries. Having said that, in the next general elections in 2024, where we elect the 18th Lok Sabha,
Yeah.
more than 50%. Now, this really astonished me and it also made me really happy at the same time. More than 50% of, of Indian population will be going to the ballots for the very first time. That means the
Yeah.
power of decision of selecting our leaders is going to be a tremendous responsibility on the youth of India, which is huge.
Absolutely.
Yes. So, what, according to you, are the parameters that we should select our leaders by? What, according to you, makes a great leader?
Hello.
What are the qualities of a great leader?
Yeah. Okay. So, according to me, the qualities of a great leader, and this in fact comes from my personal experience, because I'm not talking about the position of a prime minister, but I remember being the head boy of my school. So I
I
know
read
what it
that.
means to be a leader. Yeah.
Leader,
I
yes.
mean, even that is, yeah, that also is a position of huge leadership, because you are leading the entire school body, you are leading the entire student body. So I remember being in the position of leadership as the head boy of my institute. And I remember on the very first day when the badge was given to me and the sash was given to me, the promise which I made to my own self as the leader of my school was to, first of all, not work or give orders as the leader, but decide upon what is to be done as a student of that school. Decide upon what is to be done as somebody who belongs to that school, as somebody who would like or dislike what is being, let's say, forced down their throats, right? So if I say that there is this one person, and I do not want to quote any names or any positions over here, but if I say that this is one nation and this is the leader of that nation, then that leader should not be giving orders to the nation in a way that he or she himself or herself wouldn't be willing to abide by them, or wouldn't be willing to, let's say, live through them. If I am imposing a condition on my own nation, which I personally, as a common citizen, would not be okay with, would not be able to survive through, then I am making a wrong call. No matter how much beneficial it might be on monetary terms, no matter how much beneficial it might be on the ranking terms. I mean, there are so many kind of rankings for every nations every year on every platform. I have to be clear about that. But then at the end of the day, as a leader, what should matter to me more than any ranking, more than any monetary gain, more than anything else, or even my own position, is the fact that whatever I am doing, I personally would have been okay with that had I been on the receiving end of it rather than on the giving end of it. So, for a leader to be making those decisions that are fine, that are appropriate, I think appropriate is the best word over here, for the common citizen, is the most important thing to focus on.
Quality
And
of a leader.
personally speaking, yeah, personally speaking, since I am being bluntly honest over here, I have seen that lacking a little bit in past few months, if I have to be honest about that. But then again, I hope the youngsters of today make the right call. And
Yes.
I hope, I wish for the fact that the youngsters of today are the leaders when it comes to the next election, or whenever the next time comes. I want the youngsters to be on the forefront rather than on the pushing end of it. The youngsters should not just focus on pushing this person or that person ahead. They should focus on becoming the change that they want to see in the nation,
Yes.
as you said yourself. They should try to, or they should strive to become the leaders that they talk about, or that they envision about, or that they criticize about, or that they debate about. They have to take the, I would say, the control over here. They have to
Mm.
come forward and take the stand for it. So that is what I actually hope for, a younger leadership in the coming years.
Definitely, definitely. You said all the right things, Yash. You believe in democratic leadership where you be among the people, and you spoke against autocratic leadership. You spoke about vision. A leader should have vision. A leader should be influential, like you yourself, using your words, your voice to be that influence. A leader with integrity, a leader who has is accountable. That is the kind of leadership we are
Absolutely.
looking for
Absolutely.
in our country. Now, as an educator, and I speak for all educators in my fraternity, we take it upon ourselves as as a moral responsibility to nation building, right? And one of the core things that we focus on is character building, right? So being an influencer, you are an influencer because you are speaking to hundreds, you're traveling across the length and breadth of the country, you are an influencer. Now, would you use your voice, to talk about morals, to talk about ethics? And now, be in this age of communication technology, we find youth being isolated, moral values are degrading. So you can use your voice, like you said, your voice is your strength, your words are your strength. Would you use your voice? Would you use your platform? Would you use your place and position as an influencer to speak about these issues, mental, ethical, and those kind of things, which are very important for the youth?
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think I already am doing that to a certain degree, because most of my talks, in fact, are about psychological well being, the mental health of the youngsters in particular, but people from all walks of life and all age groups around the world as well. And apart from that, moral values and the righteousness in a person is also a core element of whatever I talk and whatever I write and whatever I try to create, whether it is in a literary project format or it is in a verbal project format, whatever it might be. These are something that I personally abide by. These are something that I personally have a lot of importance for. And so I
Mm.
try to imbibe them in my projects as well to a great degree. And in fact, this is not just something which I want to talk about my own self. I would request humbly to all the influencers and all the writers and all the speakers and creators and artists and dancers and singers and whosoever has even 5 people under their influence out there, or even a single person under their influence out there, to use your influence for these topics, to use your influence for what I mentioned earlier, the greater good of the world. Because if you are able to impart what you have to somebody in front of you, whether it is, let's say, a couple of impoverished youngsters in your
Mm.
colony or in your society, or of
Mm.
the domestic help that who works at your home, and you are able to give those people education or moral values or ethics or mentorship or any form of guidance, whatever it might be, that matters. You shouldn't be thinking that just because you are not delivering a talk on the platform of TED, so your voice doesn't matter. You have to be clear about this. I want the youngsters listening to me right now to be very clear about this. Just because you do not have a platform that is perceivable or that is on YouTube with billions of followers does not mean that you do not have a voice. Because in the socially and globally connected world of today, whether we talk about social media in general or the news platforms as a greater, I would say, as a greater pedestal, you do have a voice. It is about whether you have the passion to do something or not. It is about whether you have a will to do something or not through those platforms. You can either use a social networking platform to scroll through your Instagram feed for hours upon hours, or you can use those platforms to amplify the moral values that you have within your own self for the greater good of the people out there. So I personally am trying to take as much effort in this direction as I possibly can. But then I would say that if I want to change the world, it cannot be changed just by my own effort. mentors, right? I need the fellow youngsters of mine to collaborate with me as well. I need the fellow youngsters of mine to come alongside me as well. So I urge all of you to come forward, to take that step, and to amplify your voice through all the platforms that are readily available at the palm of your hand right now. And I hope that that would be the reality in coming years.
Wonderful, Yash. You are saying all the right things. It's brilliant. So you don't need a platform. You don't need, uh, like you say, a stage like yourself. Lead without titles. That is one thing I love. You do
Exactly.
not need a title. So, Yash, you spoke about other youngsters coming and joining you. Are you also looking at training others to be mentors? Would you be someone who will train other mentors, or you think it's a quality that you have to have innate? Like you said, the passion and the drive and the attitude, even. Can you train
I
them,
can, yeah.
or you
See,
think,
when it comes to, yes, you were saying something?
yeah, can you train them? Can you take a group of youngsters who are willing to be mentors and coaches like you and train them, or you think it's something that has to come from within?
Mentorship or the will to do something definitely comes from within. I mean, as much as I can encourage somebody, at the end of the day, whether they are making an active effort or not is their choice and is their call and is something that is on them. Just like it is on me about whether I am using my voice for the greater good or not. But then, with that being said, I have to be very honest over here that through as many platforms as I can, I try to deliver information and deliver guidance about all that I specialize in as much as I can. Like, for example, since 2019 only, I mean, my first debut novel came out in 2018 when I was just 16 years old. And after my first TED Talk in 2019, I have been constantly delivering workshops, sessions, and seminars about how to write your own novel, about how to become a better public speaker, about
Mm,
how to communicate better, about
mm,
how to have a stronger and a more stable psychological well-being or mental health, about how to come out of your comfort zone, about how to become a more resolved individual and a more proactive youngster in this world. So I am trying to, I don't think that pass on is the right word, but
mm.
I should say that deliver the
Yeah.
guidance which I have about the expertise or about the specializations that I have within my own self or my own experiences to as many youngsters as I can. Because, as I said earlier, if I'm not using my potential and my own experience for guiding others or for the greater good of the world, then what good are these expertise or experiences of anyway, right? So I
Yes.
am trying to use as much of my potential to guide others about the same as well. But then again, as mentioned earlier, it does matter whether the person himself or herself is willing to take that stand or is willing to utilize that or not. So at the end, it is all on you. No matter how much encouragement you are getting, or no matter how many tech talks or Josh talks you watch, if you are not practically implementing all that theoretical knowledge which you have penned down in your inspiring notebook, it wouldn't matter. So try to practically implement all that as well. Don't just be a listener, be a proactive, I would say, uh, you know,
A
worker,
doer.
speaker, writer, doer, and at least somebody who is willing to create a change, somebody who is willing to be the change. That is what I would like to suggest and preach about as well.
Wonderful, Yash. Yash, I was going to end this talk by making a plea to you to say that please, when you are, and you are meeting a lot of youngsters, you are meeting youth, I was going to say, please talk to them about mental health. Talk to them about character building. Talk to them about integrity, about morals, about care for our elderly, about the unfortunate, the lesser, the underprivileged. But you said it all yourself, and you are already doing all that in your workshop. I began the program by saying I'm so proud today to be speaking to you. You have no idea, my heart is overwhelmed. I am even more prouder. And you, Yash, are the face of new India. You are the face of young India, and the India that our forefathers, the ones who shed their blood for, the ones who fought for our freedom, the ones who built this nation, will be so proud of. And an India that's going to be more triumphant and victorious than they could have ever, conceived in their minds, because with you and you influencing many and many such like you, there is no doubt our young nation is going to be on the top, like we hope and pray that it would be. Thank you so
Fingers crossed.
much.
Fingers crossed.
Yash Tiwari, be the change, be hungry, like you said. That was a
Absolutely.
very good point you made. Don't go to bed being content with your day, but be hungry to do more. Staying focused, that is important. So many valuable points you put out there, Yash, today. I know we can talk more. It would be lovely to
Yeah.
talk to you again. And
Absolutely.
you are a
Absolutely.
force. You are a force, and I am so proud of you. I wish you all the luck. And Yash, you were a head boy of the school.
I was.
I see you in a leadership role in our country. You will do it.
That really means a lot.
And I wish for people with your moral standards and your intelligence and confidence to lead this great nation. And that is my wish that I will end this program and this interaction with. Thank you so much for today.
Thank you so
Thank you,
much for
Yash.
having me. It
Thank
was
you.
truly an honor. Thank you. It really means a lot. And for all the listeners over here, thank you so much for being a part of the show. If you would like to connect with me, you can reach out to me on www.yashtiwari.org or at Yash Tiwari Speaks on all the social networking platforms. Thank you so much once again. It was truly a delight being on the platform. Thank you.
Thank you, Yash. Rahul, would you like to say thank you?
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much for joining us. Am I
Thank you,
audible?
Rahul. Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you
Thank you,
so much for
Yash.
joining us.
Yeah, more power to you. Bye bye. Thank you so much.